All right.
Just plugged in the mic. We are ready to go. Just got to do this one quick because it's late. And with the conclusion of tonight's game, the Jets, with their very scripted comeback against the Blues, once it went to overtime, I knew the Jets were going to win it because coming into tonight in Game 7's home teams were 26 and 23 when the game goes to overtime. Jets is 27, and that was also signed because they're playing the winner's going to play the Dallas Stars next. Dallas Stars equals 27. Jay Ottinger just got his 27th win last night. Icing on the cake was scored with 2.7 seconds left. Yeah, and the Stars got their 54th win of the season. Another sign that they are going to face the Jets, 54. All right, but what I want to do now, though, before I go to sleep, we're going to go over round one, look at how I did in round one, and then do a quick preview for round two, because that starts tomorrow, and I'm at work all day tomorrow, so the only time I have to do it is right now. First series, Washington-Montreal. Again, I said it was either going to be Capitals sweep or win in 6. Instead, they won in 5, which was right in the middle of that. And that wasn't really surprising because Ovechkin has had 41 all over his career. He had 41 all over this year. I remember the goal that he scored to tie Gretzky's record came against the Chicago Blackhawks, which equals 179, the 41st prime. That was his 41st goal of the year. And then he ended up breaking the record 2 days later in a 4-1 loss against the Islanders, the team that Gretzky won his first Stanley Cup against 41 years earlier, and they won that series 4-1. Not surprising that their first series win of this playoffs was 4-1. Yeah, and Montreal ended up staying on 41 wins. So, yeah, right team, wrong game, close enough. Second series, I said Leafs in 6, and if you go back to my live stream, I even said Toronto's going to have a 3-1 lead coming back home. Ottawa's going to win Game 5, and then Toronto's going to win Game 6. That's exactly what happened. Yeah, Ottawa fell to 5-4 against the Leafs for the season. Maple Leafs equals 54. Yeah, Ottawa now 74 playoff wins. Toronto, Ontario 74. This one, I said undecided. I think winner will represent Eastern Cup final. So what ended up happening was Florida won 4-1. I'd have to look more into this as to why that happened. Trying to think. I don't know the gematria of every team, so there's probably something in here that I'm just not seeing. But I guess something to look at. Florida got their 58th playoff win. Are they going to make it all the way to the final and face the team that's in their 58th season? Well, we'll see. Carolina and New Jersey, I had nothing to go off of here, really. There wasn't much. I said leaning Hurricanes. They won 4-1. I didn't really have anything down on here. Moving on to the Western Conference. This one, look at that. I said pick leaning Jets in 7. That's exactly what happened. You got the Winnipeg Jets got their 39th all-time head-to-head win over the Jets. St. Louis Blues equals 39. They became, they were 3-1 against them in the regular season, then 4-3 in the playoffs. That means they were 7-4 against the Blues in the season overall. St. Louis equals 74. What else was there here? Yeah, and St. Louis equals 47. They finished the season with 47 wins. So that one, I said leaning Jets in 7. I probably wasn't 100% confident, but this I put it in bold because right team, right game. This one, I had Stars. I thought it was going to end most likely in 6, ended up going to 7. What ended up happening was Dallas Stars got their 91st all-time head-to-head win. That includes the time as the North Stars and the Nordiques. In Game 7, Game 7 equals 91. I talked about that the other day. Yeah, and now they're 5-5 against them, so that one didn't really work out. But they did get their 54th win of the season. Yeah, and now they're playing the Jets, which equals 54. Kennedy Curse equals 54. Yeah, and teams that scored first in Game 7 ended up staying on 150 wins. And that's what happened in Game 7. Colorado Avalanche equals 150. Knights and Wild. I said no clear Wordle. It ended up being Knights and 6. Let's see, so now 8-5. Again, I don't know the gematria of every single team at the top of my head. So this was probably something here that I'm just not seeing. And the last series, LA and Edmonton. So Edmonton won for a 4th straight season in the first round. So they dropped to 5-5 against them for the year. Yeah, LA Kings equals 44. Edmonton got their 193rd all-time playoff win, the 44th prime. Yeah, Gretzky equals 40. They got their 40th head-to-head playoff loss against them in Edmonton, AB, which also equals 40. All right, so yeah, that one I got wrong. But I got those the Jets one and the Leafs one. I got those pretty much spot on. This series, Caps were huge favorites, so it didn't really matter. This one I got the team right, wrong game, and then had the team wrong in this one, and I didn't really have a pick for this one. So overall, it wasn't an outstanding first round, but it was a pretty good first round. I'll move on to the second round. Caps and Canes to start off. Capitals equals 81, so that's a sign they're going to move forward with 4 wins. Because that means the Hurricane. That's just since not including their time as the Whalers, they have 77 all-time losses against the Capitals. So they're going to get loss number 81. Hurricanes have 51 wins on the season right now. Hurricanes and Carolina both equal 53. Capitals equals 54, so maybe that's a sign that they'll stretch it to 7, but I don't think so. Right now I say Caps in 6, but I didn't really find that much to go with in this series. I'm thinking Caps should win this series. Next series, Toronto and Florida. I think Florida is going to get this one again for the second time in 3 years. They've only played each other once in the playoffs. That was a couple years ago. Florida won that in 5. Florida and Panthers both equal 38. So if the Leafs lost in 6, they'd fall to 3-8 against them in the playoffs. If the Leafs lost in 5, man, that Toronto Maple Leafs and Toronto both equal 72. Florida's currently 3-1 against them for the season. The Leafs lost in 5. They're going to be the Panthers will be 7-2 against them for the year. That's all I have down. So yeah, that's why I said Panthers in 5 or 6. There's probably more, but I got to do this quick. Vegas and Edmonton. I actually said Vegas. All right. Last time the only other time they played each other in the playoffs, Knights won in 6. And Las Vegas, Nevada 83. So if they won in 5 games, they become 8-3 against them. They're 2-2 against them on the season, so they split the 4 games. The Knights win in 6. They'll become 6-4. Golden Knights equals 64. Las Vegas NV equals 58. So if they win in either 5 or 7, then which would be which would be home games for the Knights. I know they technically play in Paradise, but close enough. They'd get their 58th win of the season at home. Yeah, and Edmonton AB equals 40. That's making me think that the Oilers are going to lose probably in Game 6 at home like they did last time. Get that 40th loss of the season. And that would make a lot of sense too, because Vegas equals 54, so they'd finish the season 54-40. Losing to Vegas, staying on 54 wins against Vegas, getting their 40th loss of the season. That would make a lot of sense. Although I'll talk about Edmonton. Edmonton does have a chance to advance, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. Winnipeg and Dallas. So what was happening is, as time was winding down in the Blues-Jets game, I was checking the score online. I kept checking. It was 3-1 with 3 minutes left. So what I did is I just started. How I organized this sheet is I put down all the stats first, and then I write in the clues. I type in all the team names and the cities and gematria in the gematrinator, and then I look to see if anything can hit. I just use the Control F function to see I'd be oh, is there an 83 somewhere? And then I'll be oh, Las Vegas, Nevada is 83, so then I'll put that in. What I did is, before the game, I had written out all these notes for either Winnipeg or St. Louis to advance, and then I would just delete one of them, whichever. But I didn't have these things in parentheses in any of them yet. And with 3 minutes left, I thought it was 3-1, so I just started putting in the stuff in the parentheses for St. Louis, because okay, yeah, St. Louis looks like they got it, but then I refresh it and I'm it's 3-2, but there's still only a minute and a half left. I'm okay, yeah, St. Louis is gonna do it. And then I'd finished typing out the St. Louis notes, and I refreshed the page again, and I saw it was 3-3 heading to overtime. Oh, what the heck? And once I saw I was going to overtime, I was yeah, Winnipeg's got this, because they'll get their 27th. Home team will get their 27th overtime win in Game 7 history, and that's what happened. And it just so happens to be that they have 27 all-time wins against the Stars. That includes their time as the Thrashers. And actually, also this means I can get rid of all the St. Louis notes now. So, adios. You can get rid of that. And we can get rid of that. Okay. The second round almost fits on one page. All right, so the things that stood out here: Winnipeg won the season series 3-1. If it does go 7, they'll be 6-5 against them for the year, and if assuming the Stars win in Game 7, that would put the Jets at 6-5 against them for the year. Winnipeg Jets equals 65. But also Jets does equal 27, which means Dallas is 1-3 against them. If the Jets 1-5, the Stars would be 2-7 against them for the year. But if the Stars 1-5, the Stars would be 5-4 against them for the year. And we know 27-54. 27 was huge just tonight, with the Jets getting the home team's 27th all-time overtime win, and last night you had Ottinger getting his 27th playoff win, and as the Stars got their 54th win of the year. To me, that's the more likely one. The Stars will get their 58th win in their 58th season. And that might come in Game 5 in Winnipeg, MB. MB is the postal code for Manitoba. On their way to, we'll talk about that later. And yeah, Canada Life Center, that's where the what's it called? That's where the Jets play. So I'm thinking they'll split the first two up in Winnipeg, and then the Stars win the last three. That's what I'm thinking. And they need 12 more to get to 144. Jesuit Order, American Airlines Center, Candy Curse, all 144. Yeah, and American Airlines Center equals 216. So then maybe that's a sign that they'll win it in 6 or maybe win it in 4. Get that 216th win. We know 216 is 666. They're looking for their 66th win of the season. Is there a 36 anywhere in here? Well, yeah, that's interesting. If the Stars do take a 3-1 lead in the series, or even if they win their third game of the series at home, that means it'll be their 36th all-time win against the Jets/Thrashers franchise, and 216 is the 36th triangular number. That would be interesting. Wait, no, sorry, 216 is, what am I saying? 216 is not the 36. 666 is the 36th triangular number, but 216 is 6 times 6 times 6. Okay, that's you knew what I meant. Well, also funny is 216 is here. We need to show the properties of 216. So actually here, let's go down here. I'll type in 216. 216 is 6 cubed, so that can either be written as 6 times 6 times 6, or it can also be written as 6 to the third power. And we've talked about this before, how 6 to the third, or 201 is the 63rd semi-prime. And we know JFK assassinated in Dallas in 63. Was it the hospital? Was it called Parkland Hospital? I've been by that hospital before. Was that equal? No, it doesn't equal 201, but it equals 177, like Jesuit Order. What else was there to talk about? Okay, I guess we can just look at some of these things. Oh, actually, hold on, let me go back to my notes for a second. If the Jets do only win one game, they'll finish the year on 61 wins. And considering that they kept the Blues on, considering that they kept the Blues on 47 wins, and I went too fast there. And St. Louis equals 47. They might keep themselves on 61 wins for the year. I guess I can get rid of all the St. Louis stuff. Yeah, Winnipeg Jets 61. What was the, hold on, sorry, I need to go back to the, sorry, I'm trying to look at one thing here. Right, okay. So Winnipeg Jets equals 151. 151 is the 36th prime number. And I was just talking about how the Jets could get their 36th all-time loss against Dallas, including their time as the Thrashers. And that could come in American Airlines Center in probably Game 4, I'm thinking. And as I just said, 216 is 6 times 6 times 6, and 666 is the 36th triangular number. And Winnipeg Jets equals 151, the 36th prime. Now that's interesting. What date would that be on? So that's I think the series is going to start on Wednesday. So if it starts on Wednesday, so then Game 2 would be Friday the 9th. Game 3, Sunday the 11th. Game 4, Tuesday the 13th. So that's 133rd day of the year. Day leaving 232 days left in the year. Or the 233rd to last day of the year, which is the 51st prime. What is it? 5 plus 13, that's 18. 18 plus 25 is 43, 60. It's 63 date numerology. I think I might be thinking too far ahead on this one. Okay. Yeah, but that 58 there for Winnipeg MB, that stands out for the Stars because they could get their 58th win of the season in their 58th season. But one reason why... So, I was talking about why I think the Knights are likely to beat the Jets, but something with Edmonton. Edmonton equals 35. And let's just look at, we're going to look at Jake Ottinger's stats for a second. Pull up his hockey reference page. All right, so you see here is 27 playoff wins. So if he wins 4 more, he'll have 31. And then if he wins 4 after that, he'll have 35. And so it would make sense if they played, if the Stars are to advance to the Stanley Cup final, like I've been saying, Ottinger would get his 35th playoff win over Edmonton. Well, he could get it over Las Vegas, but Edmonton's got that 35 connection. We've been talking about 35 since last offseason. It's interesting. And also, remember the last time the Stars were in the Stanley Cup final, that was all those playoff games were held in Edmonton during the bubble. Yeah, speaking of 35, yeah, they're saying Jason Robertson's going to come back. He scored 35 goals this year. And if the Stanley Cup final ends on June 17th, that'll be 35 days before his birthday. But we'll just have to wait. Okay, I'm getting tired now. I took melatonin because I've been staying up late recently. And I need to not stay up late because I have work in the morning. Yeah, I might. I'll see. I might join. I'm reading the live chat now. I might join Zach's live stream, but I need to go to sleep, so I might just like go into bed and listen to it as I fall asleep. I'll see. I'll see how I feel. Switch the notes back here first. No, wait. No, I'm on here. Is there anything else that I want to cover? I don't think so. Well, actually, there is one thing that I can talk about. All right, we're looking at the Florida Panthers. Or maybe it was just, hold on. Shoot. Was it just Florida? I can't remember. Shoot. Maybe it was, hold on, okay, no, it was that, okay. So we just had Pete DeBoer Game 7 bullshit magic the other day, which is actually yesterday. But Pete DeBoer, we're going to look at his stats here. So entering these playoffs, he had 88 playoff wins, right? So he just got 92. If he wins 12 more, he'll get 104. 104 playoff wins. Florida Panthers equals 76. 104 is the 76th composite number, which is interesting. I don't think 104 is a semi-prime, is it? No, it's not, because it's 52 times 2. Okay, but anyways, 104th, 76th composite number. If the Stars end up meeting the Panthers in the Stanley Cup final, he get his 104th Stanley Cup playoff win against the 76 team. And what's funny about Pete DeBoer is Pete DeBoer and Paul Maurice have had Pete DeBoer's kind of shadowed Paul Maurice throughout his career. Like, Pete DeBoer was if you just read his Wikipedia article here. So they both got their coaching head start with the Detroit Junior Red Wings in the 90s. Yeah, same thing here. Only difference is that Paul Maurice went to the Whalers/Hurricanes, then went back to the Hurricanes, then went to the Jets, then went to the Panthers, and won the Cup final with the Panthers. We knew that was going to be all about. We knew that last year. We knew the Cup final was all about 67. We thought the Leafs might be there, or at least someone from Canada, but instead ended up being about the coach that was born in 67, who's from the Toronto, or actually he's not from the Toronto, but the same province as Toronto. Yeah, so it would be interesting if DeBoer ended up meeting Paul Maurice in the finals. But that's still a long ways out. And there was, there was something about his name. If I can remember. Peter DeBoer 113. June 17th is 617, 113th prime number. 58th season for Dallas. Just did Pete DeBoer. Doesn't really show that. I think his real name is George. Is that right? His real name is George. Yeah, George DeBoer 106, 35th semi-prime. And 214, that was huge with the Stars back in Game 2 when Colin Blackwell scored the game winner with 2:14 left in overtime in a game that started on 21/4 right after the Pope died, and the new interim Pope, or whatever, is the new interim head of the Vatican, is from Dallas, or he's not from Dallas, but he spent time in Dallas. Yeah, 214 is the 70th semi-prime. Yeah, 106, 35th semi-prime. What is his full name? 17 squared. 289 is bound to be a semi-prime then. It's the 90th semi-prime, huh? Okay, I'm probably looking too deep into this, but maybe just look at his last name. Yeah, his last name's just 113 and 49, just like Dallas. Yeah, and also 32 is their 32nd season in Dallas. So we'll see what happens, but I should have created a bracket, but I didn't, because when you create a bracket, you end up like getting rooting interests, and I don't really want to have rooting interests because I don't want to get like emotionally sucked back into this. So I just kind of let the games play out, and I just kind of I don't really watch them. Because I do live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, I've been listening to most of the Stars playoff games, but I haven't been watching any other games. I don't have cable. I do have my parents' ESPN Plus account, so you can't even get the playoff games on that. You can only get because last night's game was on ABC, I watched that through ESPN Plus, but that was it. I had the radio on, and the radio was 45 seconds ahead of the TV, so I already knew it was going to happen. It was kind of interesting. But yeah, okay, I need to go to sleep now. We'll catch you guys later.